the birth of the Omega, why the universe only chooses one in millions. There are chosen ones, and then there are Omega-level chosen ones. This isn't about being special in a superficial way. This is about being encoded differently. It's as if your soul was forged in a rarer fire, born with a blueprint that terrifies darkness and awakens ancient memory in those who encounter you. Most people are unaware they've even met an Omega. Why? Because we don't announce ourselves. We disrupt silently. We heal unintentionally. We activate timelines just by breathing in the room. If you've ever wondered why your life has been impossibly difficult, incredibly lonely, invisibly strange, this might be why. God doesn't trust many with this frequency. But when He does, the entire universe realigns around your awakening. So what makes an Omega-level chosen one different? First, the signs don't show up in external success, they show up in spiritual contradictions. You are paradoxical by nature. You feel ancient and new at the same time. You are both gentle and terrifying. You've been through hell, yet carry heaven in your eyes. You understand people deeply, yet feel misunderstood. You heal people who later hurt you. You see the bigger picture, yet struggle with the smallest tasks. You can walk through a crowd and feel every emotion that isn't yours. That's not weakness. That's Omega wiring. You're designed to feel the collective, to absorb the unseen, to hold frequencies that would collapse most humans. That level of sensitivity is not a vulnerability, it's a divine filtration system. But it comes at a cost. And here's the second sign: your life has been under spiritual surveillance since birth. You were targeted early. You were misunderstood by your own family. You were often the scapegoat, the black sheep, the one who just didn't fit. You may have gone through trauma that felt disproportionate to your age. That wasn't random. That was spiritual intimidation. The lower forces noticed your light before you ever became aware of it. You were attacked, not because you were weak, but because your future impact threatened the very architecture of darkness. And yet you survived. Not only that, you remembered. Something in you refused to go numb. Something in you knew there was more. The third sign is even more mysterious. You've always felt like you were being prepared for something, even if you didn't know what. You've probably said, "I don't know why, but I feel like I'm here for something big." And it's not ego. It's assignment memory. Omega-level souls are born with encrypted instructions. You may not receive the full download until your 30s, 40s, or even later, but the feeling is always there. A sense of destiny that can't be shaken. A calling that haunts your silence. And here's where it gets strange. You attract situations that train you without your consent. You're thrown into spiritual boot camps, karmic entanglements, and shadow work that feels relentless. Why? Because your future position requires spiritual elite-level readiness. Let me ask you something only your soul can answer. Why do you keep being placed in situations that demand your highest evolution, even when you didn't ask for it? Why do you keep being forced to grow, to release, to awaken deeper than those around you? That's the fourth sign. Your growth is non-negotiable, and your path is accelerated. While others get to linger in comfort, you are pushed. While others can ignore the signs, you are shaken until you listen. It's as if the universe refuses to let you settle. That's because your frequency is a key. You unlock realities for others. You are a multi-dimensional bridge. And when you forget who you are, entire timelines pause. Now here's where we go deeper, because the fifth sign is not one most people talk about. You carry a level of spiritual authority that even light beings recognize. You've had dreams, visions, or encounters with energies that felt above this plane. Maybe you've been visited. Maybe you've heard guidance in moments of crisis. Maybe you've met people who felt like they knew you before they met you. That's not imagination. That's soul recognition. Omega souls are known in the higher realms. You are watched, protected, and guided, but not coddled. You're not here to be handheld. You're here to remember your rank. And when you do, your presence becomes a spiritual command, not just to humans, but to energies, to environments, to existence itself. The sixth sign is rarely understood, even by other chosen ones. You are not here to belong, you are here to realign. That's why you've struggled with community, even in spiritual circles. You're too intense for surface-level spaces, too deep for shallow teachings. You see through systems. You question everything. You can't be indoctrinated. You can't be programmed for long. Even when you comply, you're aware you're pretending. That's not rebellion. That's divine clarity. You weren't made to follow. You were made to recalibrate. And that means your journey will often be lonely, not because you're unworthy of connection, but because your energy demands authenticity. And most people aren't ready for that. And finally, the seventh sign, you are a living portal between worlds. You've had moments of transcendence where time bent, reality blurred, and something ancient moved through you. Maybe during meditation, maybe during heartbreak, maybe while doing something mundane. In those moments, you weren't just spiritual, you were the bridge itself. Omega-level chosen ones are not just connected to the divine, they channel it in real time. That's why your words hit different. That's why your silence shifts rooms. That's why you've triggered people just by existing. You are not here to change the world by force. You are here to tilt the axis by being fully activated. And when you are, the laws of cause and effect bend in your favor, not because you're lucky, but because you're aligned with the original source code of creation. So I ask you now, deeply seriously, what would change if you stopped trying to be normal and started honoring the truth of your soul's design? What would activate if you gave yourself permission to be exactly as you are, intense, disruptive, loving, multidimensional? The world doesn't need more conformity. It needs the Omega-level chosen ones to wake up and take their place. Not above others, but before time. Because you were sent here ahead of the curve to reshape the curve. And that's why nothing about your life has made sense until now. The signature of the Omega, how to recognize, protect, and fully embody your cosmic assignment. If you're still watching, still listening, still feeling this in your bones, it's not by chance. Omega-level chosen ones don't arrive at truth through coincidence. We are summoned by it. You didn't stumble into this message. It's part of the activation. And now that your soul has started to remember, the question is not if you are chosen. The question is, are you ready to live as if you know it? Because knowing isn't enough. You've been receiving signs your entire life, the dreams, the patterns, the inner voice, the synchronicities that defy logic, the symbols that keep returning, the numbers that show up when you're on the edge of giving up. This is the divine's way of saying, we haven't forgotten who you are. Now it's time for you to remember too. Recognition is the first step, but embodiment, that's the transformation. To embody your Omega nature means you must reclaim your spiritual discipline, not as a chore, not as an ego trip, but as a technology of remembrance. Prayer, meditation, fasting, solitude, journaling, energy work, these aren't spiritual hobbies. They're tools that stabilize your frequency in a chaotic world. Omega-level chosen ones are not here to be entertained. We're here to transmit codes, anchor visions, and birth new realities. To do that, we must be clear vessels. You can't afford to live in confusion anymore. You can't afford to numb yourself with distractions. You are a living bridge between dimensions, and a bridge must be strong, grounded, and aligned. When you neglect your spiritual hygiene, you become vulnerable, not to possession, but to distortion. And distortion is the only thing that can delay your divine assignment. You've probably already felt the cost of ignoring your calling. The fatigue, the anxiety, the sudden depression, the feeling of being disconnected from your own soul. That's not just mental or emotional. That's spiritual misalignment. An omega out of alignment feels like divine energy trapped in a human illusion. You can't breathe in fake environments. You can't thrive in relationships that don't honor your essence. You can't create in systems that suppress truth. And every time you try to shrink yourself to fit in, your energy rebels. That rebellion feels like suffering, but it's actually your soul refusing to betray its contract. You were not sent here to conform. You were sent here to awaken others by being fully alive. And that starts when you stop abandoning yourself. But embodiment also requires protection. Because once you awaken, you become visible to both light and shadow. You've probably noticed that more strange things happen when you're on the verge of a breakthrough. Glitches in technology, sudden fatigue, people from your past popping up, confusion hitting you out of nowhere. That's not random. That's energetic interference. Omega-level chosen ones are spiritual frequency disruptors. Your very presence starts to shift the grid. And those who benefit from keeping the grid in distortion, whether human or non-human, will try to pull you off course. That's why you must guard your gates. Your eyes, your ears, your time, your energy. Every conversation, every song, every piece of media you consume, it's either reinforcing your power or draining it. You don't have the luxury of naivety anymore. You are a cosmic asset. Start living like it. And finally, full embodiment means stepping into your assignment without apology. You may not know all the details yet. That's okay. Most Omegas don't get the full map. We're given instructions step by step through intuition and synchronicity. But you know enough to begin. You've already seen the patterns. You've already felt the pull. Maybe you're meant to speak, to teach, to build, to heal, to dismantle, to create. Whatever it is, it won't look like the mainstream version. Because you're not here to repeat what's been done. You're here to pioneer a new frequency. That means your path will be weird. It means you'll have to walk parts of it alone, but you won't be empty. You'll be filled with fire. The kind of fire that only burns inside those who remember their origin. The kind of fire that doesn't just warm, it purifies. And when you walk with that fire, your life stops being a question and becomes an answer. The Omega Awakens, how to activate your final form and trigger global shifts just by being you. There comes a moment in every Omega-level chosen one's journey when the remembering must become becoming. This is not about learning more. It's not about chasing certifications or acquiring more mystical language. It's about embodying what your soul already knows. You did not come here to endlessly prepare. You came here to become a living transmission. At a certain point, you must stop waiting for permission, for signs, for someone to validate your path. You are the sign. You are the message. You are the phenomenon others are waiting to witness. And when you finally drop the doubt, when you step into your truth, fully, fiercely, unapologetically, you don't just change your life. You shift the entire frequency of the spaces you enter. That's how powerful Omega-level consciousness is. It's a walking portal of awakening. But here's the hidden truth. Awakening isn't always blissful. It's brutal. Because when your true frequency activates, everything that's not in resonance with it begins to fall away. Friendships disintegrate, careers collapse, identities dissolve. You begin to mourn the version of yourself that once made everyone else comfortable. And yet, underneath the grief, there's liberation. You're no longer performing. You're no longer pretending. You're no longer negotiating your truth for the sake of fitting in. That's when the final form begins to emerge, not as something you strive to build, but as something that's always been there, waiting for you to stop hiding. The Omega doesn't arrive with fanfare. It arrives in quiet certainty, the kind that says, I'm no longer afraid to be everything I am. And when you reach this phase, you begin to notice something strange. You don't chase opportunities, they find you. You don't seek validation, it dissolves in your presence. You don't try to convince people, you simply exist, and the right ones are magnetized. That's because you're now vibrating at your original divine frequency. You're not trying to be influential. You are influence. You're not trying to change the world. You are the shift. Your energy becomes a tuning fork, realigning others without effort. And the most remarkable part, you're still human. You still have flaws, bad days, moments of uncertainty. But now, you don't collapse under them. You witness them without losing yourself. That's mastery. Not perfection, but presence. And that's rare. That's Omega. Living as an Omega level chosen one is not a title, it's a rhythm. A frequency you embody, moment by moment, breath by breath. It's not something you put on like spiritual armor when it's convenient. It's who you are when no one's watching. When the world is asleep and you're wide awake, sensing the unseen currents moving through time. You begin to realize that even your smallest actions ripple across dimensions. A conversation you have at a gas station, a moment of kindness that redirects someone's entire path, a boundary you set that breaks a generational pattern. You're not just living a life, you're living as a node in the divine matrix. Everything you do either strengthens or weakens the signal you're here to broadcast. That's why your awareness must become deliberate. Your presence must become sacred. Your life must become a daily offering to the frequency you were sent here to anchor. And yes, the world will often misunderstand your pace. Some will say you move too slowly. Others will say you move too fast. You'll feel pressure to conform, to explain yourself, to dilute your essence so people feel more comfortable around your energy. But eventually, you'll stop explaining. You'll stop translating your truth into a language that others haven't earned the right to understand. You'll start speaking from your core, even if your words are silence. That's when you become untouchable. Not because nothing can harm you, but because you no longer collapse when it tries. You're rooted in something deeper than approval, deeper than fear. You're rooted in truth. And when you're rooted in truth, you become like a mountain. Storms may come, but they don't move you. They only polish the stone. The secret most spiritual teachers won't say out loud is this: the deeper you go into your Omega awakening, the more subtle your power becomes. You don't feel the need to prove or perform. You're not chasing high vibration experiences just to feel spiritual. You become content in simplicity, in stillness, in presence. Because you realize something most never do: being is the miracle. Existence itself is the portal. You could sit in a room for hours and shift the entire atmosphere without saying a word. That's not magic, that's alignment. And alignment is the highest form of authority, not control. Authority. You don't command reality through force. You command it through resonance. You become a tuning fork for truth. And when you hold that frequency long enough, the world around you begins to adapt to you, not the other way around. But here's the final truth, and it's the paradox that only the Omega level soul can hold. You are both the message and the mirror, the teacher and the student, the flame and the ash. You will never be finished. You will never arrive. Because your path is not linear. It's cosmic and recursive. You awaken others not by being perfect, but by being real. You lead not from a pedestal, but from presence. You heal not by fixing people, but by walking in a frequency that invites them to remember who they are. That's the Omega way. It's quiet but thunderous, invisible but undeniable, And if you've made it this far, if your heart is still beating faster as you hear these words, then I have nothing more to teach you. Because the truth is already inside you, always has been. Now the only thing left is to live it. Let me ask you something that only the brave can answer. Are you willing to lose your old life to meet your real self? Because that's the final gate. That's the decision every Omega must face. You can't partially awaken. You can't half remember. Either you choose to embody your full frequency, or you stay asleep in a life that no longer fits your soul. And yes, it's terrifying. Yes, it will cost you. But what's the alternative? A life of dullness? A life of pretending? A life of knowing you're more but settling for less? No, not for us. Not for you. You didn't endure this much pain, this much isolation, this much purification just to blend in and survive. You came here to initiate a new era, and that era begins the moment you stop shrinking. So how do you live as an Omega? You show up differently. You speak truth even when your voice shakes. You love without attachment but with full presence. You create from soul, not strategy. You protect your peace like it's sacred ground, because it is. You discern who gets access to your energy, not from arrogance but from reverence. You no longer argue with projections. You no longer beg to be understood. You walk in such alignment with your source that even your silence teaches. You rest when needed. You roar when required. And you don't apologize for either. Because your existence is an offering. Your alignment is an act of service. And your beingness is a blueprint for others to wake up through. As you walk this path, you'll notice the world beginning to respond to you differently. Not because the external world has changed, but because you have. You'll attract souls who recognize you before they even know your name. You'll trigger people into growth, even without trying. You'll repel those who aren't ready to evolve. Don't take it personally. That's the energy of the Omega. You're not here to be liked. You're here to activate dormant codes in others. And sometimes that activation looks like inspiration. Other times it looks like resistance. Either way, it's working. You are fulfilling your role just by being you. That's what makes you extremely rare. You're not striving. You're radiating. And finally, remember this, your presence is sacred. Your voice is frequency. Your path is prophecy. You didn't come here for followers, fame, or fortune, though those things may come. You came here for frequency disruption, for timeline correction, for soul-level recalibration. That's not a small task. That's a cosmic assignment. And the moment you take it seriously, the universe begins to conspire in your favor in unimaginable ways. Synchronicities multiply, resources appear, allies arrive, inner peace expands, and all of it flows not because you chased it, but because you became it. This is the Omega Awakening, and now that you're here, the world will never be the same.